Hey guys, it's your boy MKS here, back in with another video. It took me ages to find I wanted to copy and paste the title, so I did do part 2, but it took me ages to find the original video that I made for part 1, if you know what I mean. Anyway, as I say, hope everyone's well, and as I say, this is part 2 of my list for my plans and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things I want to work on is like countries that have been divided, because Britain and other nations did like divide and conquer. So sort of to make up for the fact that they were divided, like countries like Morocco, Argentina, Ireland, South Korea, and countries like that, and India and places like that, to say, I'd love to like sort of network them together and support them. Like I have my own quirky little ways of supporting them. Like one, I'd like to network them together, and two, I'd like to like Google their startups or S.M.E.s or things like that. For like with my alliterations on Saturdays and Sundays, I like to Google like their startups and S.M.E.s and things like that. And also like onto YouTube, go onto YouTube and so I don't know if that really helps them, but I hope it does. Like by helping them to raise the profile of their startups. And on different days, like do different plans. Like on Mondays and Tuesdays, it could be like banking or business, entrepreneurship, and things like that. Hope that made sense, as I say. Anywho, I hope everyone's doing well, as I say, and I don't repeat myself too much. And as ever, I hope people out there will enjoy this video. And sorry about the quirky little thumbnail. Well, I hope someone out there liked it. I know it probably shouldn't make myself to look too weird, but like I'm harmless, I promise. I'm mad, but harmless. I know I have some strange quirks. But anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling and get on with the list of my plans as usual. And like, as I say, to help these countries. So on that note, number 11, I hope to support those countries that have been divided, like off the top of my head, like Morocco, Ireland, India, China, Argentina, and South Korea and Spain, and nations like that. I dream to like unite them together through the fact that they were colonized, so sort of, and divided in this case. So to like sort of make up for it, so they can network together and support each other's startups and S.M.E.s and projects, like work together in science and support each other's singers and songwriters, things like that, and of course singer-songwriters and all that sort of stuff, and try each other's foods and like support each other's businesses and projects and all that kind of thing, and help each other to work towards success. And also like I'd love to support their inventors and things like that, and other such projects. So that was point number 11. Number 12, again, I'd love to encourage such countries, but also like countries that are colonized generally, and what I call the four. Most of those, like, if not all of them, are like colonized, and also went through some bad times. So I'd love to encourage them, like, and possibly share their success stories to hopefully inspire others and help those that are in poverty in those countries, especially. But also, I'd love to like encourage people to mentor them and things like that. Yeah, so I know I haven't done as well as I planned in August. Like I was planning to like shave and cut my nails and that. I didn't quite get around to that, but and also I had my bad habit of like picking my scalp, so my ear was really quite sore. But anyway, sorry, as a side note. But yeah, hopefully I'll improve in August and hopefully work towards helping these projects. But as ever, I'd love to know your thoughts about what ideas, how I can improve, or do you think that Googling their startups and S.M.E.s and all that, do you think it really helps, or not really? It's just like a quirky little strange sort of idea of mine. But anyway, number 13, I'd love to look at like what problems they have and how to solve those problems. But I have this corny little saying like, may they find light in their dog's tower, or hope in the worst, and hope in the worst, sorry, or vice versa, whichever order you want to put in. May they find hope in the worst of ours and light in their dog's towers, if you prefer. And saying I love for Native Americans and people like that, and people from Africa and Asia and the other groups like all the four, and Ireland and places like that, to talk about their own scary stories and scripts and for films and things like that, movies, whatever you call it, or call them, and get some success from those sorts of scary stories and things like that, so they would benefit from them. As I talked about in part 1, like there's lots of Native American creepypastas or urban legends or whatever you want to call them, cryptids and things like that. So hopefully Native Americans could make their own YouTube videos of them, as they, and scripts and stories and things like that, and books and films and things like that. So hopefully they would benefit from them financially. Number 14, I hope they'll work together to solve problems like what I call the four and other groups those groups I hope to support, I hope they'll work together in science and things like that, so they can work on curing diseases or even prevention and tackling the main issues facing the world, like global warming or things like that. So I've repeated a lot of these ideas, and I know I'm a bit of a creature of habit, so but yeah, hopefully I'll come up with some new things as well. Number 15, again, I'd love to hear from your ideas, but also work towards my goals, and also listen to the goals of people who I want to support, like those people from what I call the four, and those places I've talked about, especially like the countries that were colonized, like Morocco and Ireland and places like that. Hopefully those, as I say, hopefully they'll support my channel so I can support more of them, and hopefully I'll donate as much. Hopefully in the future I'll make money from my videos, of course, and then obviously that's the plan, and then hopefully help those groups. Number 16, hope they'll look at they'll analyze how to solve those problems together and work together to empower each other and look at their strengths, and also counterbalance each other's weaknesses. But also I'd love to hear, as I say, ideas for how to empower those groups. I talked about like Latin American entrepreneurs. I love to support, like I say, Mexican entrepreneurs, startups, S.M.E.s and things like that, because it sort of makes up for, it sort of goes as much as I can to making up for some of the prejudices they receive. Probably I'm a little bit biased because I look Mexican or olive skin, as I say, but I also think it's like, dare I say, the right thing to do, so to speak. Number 17, again, I'd love to encourage those groups to make stories, talk about their strengths and success. Hopefully in the future they'll have lots of success stories and celebrate each other's success stories and like feed off each other and encourage each other. And again, support each other as much as possible when they need support. I heard some really interesting stuff recently about how it was Native Americans helped Ireland initially during the potato famine, and recently the Irish, a lot of people from Ireland have turned the favour recently due to the problems faced by Native Americans in the coronavirus situation. So it was really good to see that they, obviously it's an unfortunate incident, but it's good that they helped each other when they went through bad things, and Irish are now returning the favour, so I think that's really great. So hopefully they'll help each other, and obviously they'll have someone to lean back on when they're going through a difficult situation. Number 18, again, hope to make the world a better place, and again, hope that I can help these groups to become successful, if you like. And I'd love to visit reservations in the future, like Native American reservations and places like that, and as many schools as I can, especially dyslexia-friendly ones in Asia and Africa, and places like that, and Ireland as well, and talk about how I can inspire them with dyslexia success stories to hopefully inspire their own successes, and also teach about dyslexia in places where they might not know much about it. And I think at a point I actually forgot to mention was how I hope to remember what I was going to say. Sorry, it feels like I've got an amnesia already, or dementia, or something, how we pronounce it. Like I'd love to have like soccer academies and other sports academies in to support Native Americans in sport, and like do fundraising for some of the poorest groups, and also to look at human rights across the Americas, not just in America itself, but across the Americas for indigenous communities like in Argentina and Brazil, and places like that. I know I had a controversial idea about the Falkland Islands being owned by the native or indigenous Argentinians, so that could solve the problem, because like Britain and Argentina always argue over it, but maybe there's an international agreement, like maybe the indigenous people of Argentina could own it, which I think would be perhaps a fair deal. But I'd love to hear, as ever, what people think to the contrary or in agreement, either way. But yeah, so I'd like to have soccer academies as well for indigenous people from the Americas. And like, as an Italian fan, I'd love Serie A or Italian football to be the first to host those soccer academies, or whatever you want to call them. And also Celtic, as a Celtic fan. But maybe the MLS, Premier League and other leagues would also want to get involved. But as I say, because I'm an Italian football fan, I would hope for Serie A or Italian football generally to benefit from that the most, and also Celtic. But I suppose the cost, it would be hard to know whether the cost to benefit analysis would make it feasible, but I'd love to do fundraising to like help those so they can play like soccer and enjoy themselves, again, soccer or whatever you want to call it, and other sports as well. And which is a bit of a dilemma, because as I mentioned before, it's a little bit of a strange one, because support Italian football as an anti-imperialist, because Italian football can unfortunately be quite racist. But I'd love to improve relations between Italians and other groups like what I call the Four, including obviously indigenous people from the Americas through football, soccer, whatever you call it, and for Italians to practice as much football as possible, again soccer, including with indigenous Americans, and somehow to improve the relation between themselves and Africa as well, and all that kind of thing. I know it's another one of my quirky ideas, but I love Native Americans to play as much sport as possible and enjoy themselves and all that kind of thing as well, and talk about positive things we can learn from their culture and that sort of thing, and listen to their dreams. Number 19, hope to cover as much ideas as I can for African software development, and that kind of thing. And number 20, I hope to talk about some of the things I would love to put into Room 101, which for those who don't know and missed out my, just for those who didn't see my previous videos, for those who have, sorry for repeating myself again, but Room 101 is a place where, what do you call it, it's a fictional place, that's the word, where people can put things, their pet peeves or basically things they don't like, so what I put into there, like weddings or marriages, and monogamy and stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah, like my least favourite saying is when people say I'm older than you or respect yours. I think that's probably my least favourite saying, and I hope to talk about why that is in the future. But I hope I don't offend anyone as ever, and hopefully I'll talk about why I like to support younger people, especially, and how they're the future and things like that. So anyway, I think I've waffled on enough. So as ever, I'd love to know your thoughts, and hopefully this wasn't too bad. Hopefully someone or some people out there enjoyed it, and I definitely think people from Africa and Asia and places like that should support my channel again, because I can support their projects as well in return. So they'll be helping themselves as well, investing in themselves. Anyway, I'm out. Peace and love.